I've taken a look at your proposal. It's much better than the ones you showed me before, but I'd still like to make some changes.
Oh, come on, not again. Isn't this the 6th proposal I've shown you? What's your issue this time?
It's a bit hard to put into words, but the design still doesn't look quite right to me.
I have to say, that's a terribly vague and unconvincing explanation. Please enlighten me. What would feel more right to you?
For starters, don't you think this roof is jutting out a bit too far from the top? It looks almost like the head of a fungus. This door, too. I don't think it needs to be nearly this large. If you could reduce it to around my height, you could use the leftover materials to construct a few more rooms.
The roof and the door are the most fundamental parts of a building. If we were to change them, then what would be left of the design? Even if the soul of the building won't be lost, all traces of architectural style would be gone. Anyone with the slightest inkling of architectural knowledge would know to leave them alone.
Oh, I understand the principles of what you are saying, of course, but the truth remains that I'm still a bit unhappy with the design as is. Is there anything else that you can do? Oh, actually, I just got an idea. Can we get rid of all the extraneous sections on the roof, so the whole design will just be one vertical structure, similar to that of a tree trunk?
What?
Don't architects often say that symmetry makes everything more balanced and pleasing to the eye? This way, the proportions will be completely balanced.
I really don't know how you managed to come up with such a ridiculous idea. Wait, don't tell me. Someone hired you specifically to commission me and put me through the ringer? Come to think of it, though, I really don't think I've gotten on anyone's bad side recently. Anyway, that's it. I will not be working on this commission anymore. Goodbye. Maybe you can find yourself some other genius who'll be able to satisfy your demands.
Hey, young man, please wait! Go.
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Oh, hey, I wasn't expecting to run into you here. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking is an elegant pastime. It's no good for your health. So you saw all that, did you? Ugh, I thought I was in the clear. I made sure to double-check that nobody I knew was around. Anyway, thanks for looking out for me. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm used to it by now. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, I'll have a glass of wine, same as last time. Do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine and a glass of juice coming right up.
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look for me. If word gets out, other potential clients might be afraid to work with me. That guy, though, what was he even going on about? All those ridiculous demands of his? He's just a blabbering fool trying to act like a know-it-all. Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's preferences. But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects since graduation, and none of them have been approved at the first pass. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. It feels like I'm straying further and further from my artistic vision with every change I have to make. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback would also not be a good thing. All of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crops up in my work, too. In the end, what is the true meaning of art? Should I see it as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods, or an expression of the light of my own wisdom?
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after just one glass? Your tolerance is usually much better than that.
Boss, what do you think is the meaning of art?
The meaning of art? Really, my friend, who in Sumeru understands art better than you? Anyway, I don't know about art, but I do know that I'm interested in business, and some patrons are waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me for now. Just holler if you need anything.
What do you think, traveler? Exactly. So our thoughts on the meaning of art are rather similar. In Sumeru, and especially Sumeru of the past, the arts are not a popular discussion topic. Trying to talk about the arts is basically the key to killing any conversation. It's too bad that I'm not in my best form today. Otherwise, we could have talked about this for a little longer. Thanks for offering, but you've seen how he is. He's not going to listen to anything I say. He understands nothing about my design, and all the suggestions he made were as if he just wanted to mock me. You mean, if I managed to get him to see things my way, then this project would also gain recognition from many people? You've got a point. Let's hear him out one more time, then. Time to get going. I know where we'd be able to find the guy. There's no time to waste. The wine can wait until another time. I'll go take care of the bill.
Kaveh, what are you doing here?
I've changed my mind. I was overreacting earlier. Can we try discussing the project some more?
My apologies as well. Now that I think about it, some of my requests were indeed a bit unreasonable. If I choose you to create the design for my project, I should have a bit more faith in your vision.
Thank you for understanding. Mutual trust is the basis for good communication. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think we can have a more productive conversation. To be perfectly honest, your commission request has been the most peculiar one I've ever received. Even now, I still know nothing about the building's intended purpose. All I know is that you want to build something in the desert for public use. I am aware that overly specific requests will restrain the architect's artistic freedom. However, knowing nothing about the intended purpose of the building also means I have no idea if I'm on the right track. I've produced several draft proposals for you to choose from, and you've rejected every single one. If we don't get on the same page, it could be a decade before we can finally break ground on this project.
Yes, I've given this some thought already. I think we can go with the general direction of the latest proposal that you just showed me. It's just...
Just what?
Putting the building design aside, can we get some less expensive materials for the floor tiles? Yeah, I know someone in the business, and the red bricks he sells can go for pretty cheap. The timber here as well. We should be able to find some substitutes.
Please give me a moment. My head's starting to hurt again. Just please hold on for a second. So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the project, right? But if we implement your suggestions, then I'm afraid we have to scrap the entire design. Architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Any change to one part of the design will affect the quality of the whole thing. I decided to utilize high-end timber for this section because the weight-bearing structure requires the supporting materials to be durable and strong. Same with the tiles. Switch them out and the entire mural will have to be redesigned. More importantly, if we make such a change, both its practical functionality and aesthetic value will take a great hit. If all you need is a building with a roof that can keep people dry in the rain, you shouldn't have commissioned me. Many architects would be able to build you one of those while charging far less in commission fees.
Actually, Please tell me, are you absolutely sure that there's no room for any changes in this draft of the design?
I think the most important thing for me is to understand what you would actually like to get. If you could tell me more about your vision, I might be able to work with the design some more. You are the client, after all. You should have the final say on how the project turns out.
I want to build something unique. Something quiet and warm inside. A refuge that can block out the world outside. I want all who enter this building to be able to temporarily forget everything that's going on outside of the building and just focus on their task at hand.
That's a bit more information than last time, but it's still extremely vague. To put it another way, every rich person who wants to build a mansion for themselves would request something like this. We've gone through many proposals, and this draft is already the cheapest one. Cutting costs by substituting building materials will not only detract from the overall effect of the building, it also won't save you much more in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you for giving it so much thought. Please give me some more time to mull over the budget. I'll get back to you once I've figured out a solution. I still have a few business meetings that I must attend, so I'm afraid I'll have to leave for now. You can just leave the proposal as is. I'll get in touch once I've given it some more thought.
I also have a similar feeling. Is that really okay? I mean, what he does now is none of our business. He does seem really suspicious, though. He dresses like a rich person, but when you talk to him, that's actually pretty common. Not all rich people are spendthrifts. Many are just, as if not more, stingy than him. The more mora some people have, the more they love interfering with people's lives. Like constantly reminding you to pay back your debts, or hinting every other day that it's time for you to pay rent. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure this person really wants to work on this project with me. Putting his vague requests aside, he's still finding excuses to procrastinate even when we've decided on a plan. Who knows how long construction will take if he keeps delaying things like this? We should find him again and get some clearer answers. The sooner we can break ground on this, the better. Huh? Where did he go? I could have sworn he went this way. Let's keep looking. Oh, hey, look! Isn't that Badawi? It sure looks like him, but he's dressed completely different now. What is he up to?
Didn't I tell you before? I'm not looking for more workers. Plus, aren't you a bit old for physical labor? If something happens to you,
Oh, you won't have to worry about that. I grew up as an Eremite mercenary and worked in the desert my entire life. My body's still in great shape. I don't have many talents, but I still have my muscle. If you need someone to unload goods or drive away sumpter beasts, I'm your man.
You used to be an Eremite mercenary?
I know there are a lot of bad apples in our ranks, but most are just trying to make a living. We're not that greedy by nature, and we'll do our best when given a job.
Let me think. I'm sorry, but I still can't take you in. I don't have any open positions right now, and don't have the mora for anything more. How about this? Why don't you try your luck somewhere else?
Okay.
He used to be a member of the Eremites? Huh. From the way he was dressed, I would have thought he was a merchant from the rainforest. Let's ask him about it. We meet again.
Huh? Why are you guys here?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about our project? There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. It's just... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to commission you for is not really a personal residence for me, but rather a library for children living in the desert.
A library? Funded entirely by yourself? Shouldn't this be the responsibility of the academia? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials. It sent over a large shipment of regular goods just last month.
You're right, and I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia. The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might still take decades, if not centuries, to reduce the educational gap that already exists between the two regions. And what's more, I don't know if the academia would ever reverse its stance in the future. All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute something to my homeland. I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone here that I could trust. I figured I needed as much safety as I could get.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking playing it safe to the next level. Hold on. Don't tell me you've also been scammed before.
When I first came to Sumeru's city, I brought a lot of Mora, hoping to find an architect that I could work with. Someone agreed to take on the project, and even took a sum of Mora from me, but then disappeared without a trace. After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business. Some would run as soon as they've been paid, while others would deliberately use expensive materials and take a cut of the construction funding. I spent a while collecting information in the city, and eventually learned that you're the most famous architect in all of Sumeru. I figured that you wouldn't need to make Mora by scamming people, so I decided to reach out to you. By the way, how did you know I was scammed? I don't think I've ever mentioned that to anybody.
Just a hunch. A while ago, I accepted an offer to work on a project in the desert, and was also scammed out of a large sum of Mora. I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the verge of collapse, and suggested that I build a new house for him. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own Mora, and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, I found out that he had gone gambling with all the money, and lost everything, down to the last coin. And after that, he even borrowed Mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any wrongdoing until he hired a group of mercenaries and tried to ambush me in his own house. According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert. What kind of person would just look at someone else and think, this guy looks like an easy target?
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact reason why us desert dwellers' reputation have gone down the drain. I must apologize to you on their behalf.
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from Kasharwar after all. I should apologize to you on their behalf. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new to an area are always easy targets for criminals. Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to take advantage of others, but I have to accept their existence as a fact of life. Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs because you thought I was deliberately using expensive materials to take a cut as a middleman?
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that you weren't out to cheat me. But unfortunately, I still don't have nearly enough Mora to pay for the design you proposed. I've done the math and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our conversations, I can see that you're passionate about your design, and I'm quite fond of the proposal as well. So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for work every day, and in another month, I should be able to cobble together enough Mora to meet the budget.
By cobble together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project? But then, what will you do if something unexpected comes up and you find yourself stuck with no emergency fund?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be my age and something happens, you can't really call it unexpected anymore. All I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read, and the desert dwellers would be able to learn their letters and pick up some practical knowledge. A while ago, I heard that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. Of course, this is welcomed news. But as someone who spent their entire life in the desert, I still have a few concerns. I know the desert life and can predict what the problems will be. Many children from the desert have had neither the interest nor the proper environment to learn. So even if the academia would take them in, once they enter the halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children who look and act very differently from them. And as a result, they might become socially isolated.
Yes, I can imagine that. My father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the academia, for some time I still sensed many critical looks in my direction. I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even harder time. But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm, with its doors serving as a solid barrier to block out the sound and fury outside, and allow one to focus on the book in their hands. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly. Even if I don't charge you any commission fees, I don't think we'd be able to keep it under your budget. Any ideas on what we can do? A slightly different style. Give me a minute. Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this situation. Indeed, converting the building into a simple bungalow would solve most of our problems. However, I do not think this would be the best solution. While it's true that the aesthetic value of a building is often viewed as an afterthought, neglecting it has some long-term negative consequences. It is especially undesirable in this situation, as the library will serve a high number of children, many of whom would have never been exposed to structures that may be considered elegant or beautiful. To completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the children of an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of architecture. I share Badawi's sentiments in wanting to preserve a more complex design. However, if we can reduce the ornate aspects of the design while maintaining its fundamental elegance, which is to say we won't touch the arches and stone pillars but make changes elsewhere, this is definitely a first. To make up for the loss of regular details, we would need to put a lot of extra effort into the layout, lines, and color.
I see. Would that really be okay?
It just increases the difficulty of the design. You should feel lucky that out of all the architects in the city, you chose to approach me. Most of the others would have given up on this project by now. As for inspiration, I think I might have something in mind, but I'd need to visit the site to make sure. Where do you want this place to be built? Tell me the exact location.
Aru Village. Although it wasn't my childhood home, I think it'll be the best site for such a building.
Okay, then we can pay a visit to Aru Village.
Is there something I can do for you? I've already caused you a lot of trouble before, and now you're revising the design again because of me. Which draft are we even on now? It's making me feel terribly guilty.
Let me think. You said you used to be an Eremite mercenary, right? In that case, you could help us clear out some monsters that are blocking the way to Aru Village. We want to keep the roads clear, and reduce the loss of materials during transport to a minimum. If everything goes well, that'll help us save some Mora.
All right, just leave it to me. If there's anything I'm good at, it's clearing out monsters.
What are you waiting for then? Let's pack up and get ready to go. Most materials going from Caravan Rebat to Aru Village would pass through here. There are a lot of monsters out here today. If you find it hard to keep up, just let us know.
Oh, don't worry about me. This is nothing. I'll be careful, though, and you should do the same.
Things are about to get dicey.
Press delivery! Feel the beat!
A bitter pill to swallow. Seems like an emergency.
Quietly now.
Coming through! Amp it up!
Mind the side effects.
Power cord!
Game's up. Fun's over. Busted.
Not here, please!
I'm fine. I've spent my entire life fighting these kinds of monsters in the desert, after all. They won't get the best of me. But it's one thing to fight against monsters, and another to fight against an old injury. It's something I picked up when I was young. There were many fights between mercenary brigades back then, and one day someone stabbed me in the back. I don't think much of it back then, but with age, it's caught up to me. Few mercenaries get to enjoy their later years. Failing health tends to take the joy out of reputation and wealth, and many mercenaries never even made much of the latter to begin with.
Is there someone you know who can help to look after you?
Unfortunately, no. My wife passed away at an early age, and I don't have any children. Sometimes I'd close my eyes and realize most of my life story has already been written. I have many regrets about my past, but at the same time I also know that there were never many options for me in the first place. I joined the Eremites when I was young, and won many battles with them. My survival was more a matter of luck than actual ability. If at all possible, I want future children of the desert to have some more options in life. I don't want them to turn out like me. My apologies. The older we get, the more we tend to ramble. Seems like we've already cleared out most of the monsters. Let's hurry over to Aru Village.
I think it's really admirable of him to spend his whole life savings on people he's never met. Maybe he's doing this out of natural kindness, a kindness that hasn't been eroded away by the struggles of his life. Perhaps. To clarify, though, I don't think I'm quite the same. Some people call me an idealist. I do have some sentiments of that general persuasion, such as wanting everyone to be able to lead a happy life. But my situation is more complex than that. In the beginning, what drove me to harbor those thoughts was less idealism and more a desire to make up for a sense of guilt. When I was young, I impulsively encouraged my father to take part in the first Inter-Darshan Championship, hosted by the Academia. He set off confidently hoping to win something for me, but failed to clinch the title. What's more, he fell into depression after the competition, and requested to join an investigative research project in the desert. I never saw him again. Word has it that he got caught in quicksand. Even if other factors may have contributed to his death, the fundamental cause still circles back to me. I started doing many things in life because I wanted to make amends. Even in cases where I couldn't do something for a specific person, I still did whatever I could. I think I just wanted to make myself feel a little better. At this point, even I don't know. I've tried self-reflection, but it didn't help. I can't seem to walk away from many things that I see or hear about, even if they don't directly concern me. And I can't quite pinpoint the source of it. Maybe it's just like what those Vahumana scholars often say. It's hard for people to truly understand themselves. I could be doing things out of endless guilt, or I could be doing them out of a strong sense of empathy. It could even just be a matter of conceit. The potential motivations could number in the dozens, but the actions they result in are the same. Anyway, I suppose I don't really mind being called an idealist. They also use that term to describe my father. It seemed to carry fewer connotations back when he was around. I've known Al-Haytham for many years now, and discussed my ideology with him for nearly as long. Maybe argued is a better word for it. He told me a long time ago that no matter how strong of a swimmer you may be, you'll still get dragged under by the others who are drowning once you run out of stamina. He believes this is the fate that awaits all idealists. I still believe I should live by my ideals, and I've given him countless reasons why I think it's a good idea to do so. Perhaps my ideals are flawed, but are there really any perfect things in this world? Unfortunately, he remains unconvinced. His personality is the exact opposite of my own. If someone happens to drown next to him, he'll most likely stand on the shore and mumble something along the lines of respecting other people's fates. But as you can see, I'm not the only idealist in the world. Just as there are different seasons, there are also different people. There are many others who will continue to care about the fates of those who are not directly related to them. And when I finally run out of stamina, someone will also reach out and bring me back to shore. Someone will help me, right? Yes, I've already been helped like that before. But you've helped me plenty already. If you didn't reach out to me, I would probably be passed out on the tavern table right now instead of talking with Badawi. Either way, I'm feeling much better than when you first found me at the tavern. I can feel inspiration already welling up inside of me. Maybe this will be just the opportunity I needed to create a whole new style. All right, let's head to Aru Village. Join the Eremites and embrace new life. Stay safe. Don't get hurt. Now that we're here, it's my partner's time to shine. Marak!
Oh, what's this?
My toolbox. I built it using an ancient mechanical core. It's not too smart, but it's super useful and can help me with a variety of tasks. I'll take Marak and find a suitable location for the building. Once that is done, I'll get to work on a few designs.
Traveler?
Ah, you know each other?
Hello. I suppose you must be Kaveh from Kasharawar. I have heard of you before. My name is Sataria, and I'm currently the person in charge of promoting educational assistance programs here in the desert.
Educational assistance programs. Then you must be familiar with the local conditions here.
I can't say I'm too familiar just yet, but if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them.
I've been commissioned by Mr. Badawi to build a library in the desert. We've settled on the general design direction, but we are trying to finalize some details based on the conditions around the intended location.
A library? Do you intend to open it to the public for free?
That's right. I want to make sure the children will have books to read.
That's fantastic! I'm sure the children will be thrilled. Right now, we don't have access to many paper books or a quiet place to read. Truth be told, this very thing has been keeping me up at night.
Let me get straight to my questions then. Can you estimate the number of children around here who'd be interested in reading? Besides the usual noise of village pedestrians, are there any other sources of noise in the village? Oh, and have any landslides occurred here recently? And also, where are the spots around the village that have been most affected by wind and erosion? All right, that should be everything. Badawi, let's go over the budget again. We'll keep the building structure the same, but make the place a little bigger, so it'll be able to hold more people and get better natural light. The parts of the project that cost the most will be the insulation and ventilation materials. I'm sure you understand, no one likes to read in a place that's hot and stuffy. I want to make significant changes to the arrangement of the bookshelves, tables, and chairs. I'll go over the specifics of that shortly. I have two plans in mind. Both are pretty minimalist in style, but will provide a very different ambiance from the world outside. Our final cost should be around 70% of the last figure I quoted. The whole thing should take around half a year to complete. Marak has produced a sketch for all of you to see. If everyone's okay with it, then we'll proceed with that as the formal plan. The inspiration just came to me naturally. All I did was put thoughts to paper. I must give you credit, though. If it weren't for your advice and suggestions, I probably wouldn't have landed on this new style so quickly. According to the traditions of my profession, I should probably name this style after you. Let's call it the Traveler style. In the meantime, let's look forward to the day when this building is completed and can finally open its doors. We meet again.
Huh? Why are you guys here?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about our There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building...
A library? Funded entirely by yourself? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize...
You're right. And I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia. The desert is too vast. And what's more, I don't know if... All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have. I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert
To the point that you even disguise...
When I first came, someone agreed. After that, I spent a while... By the way...
Just a hunch. I ran into some... He said that he... And after that, according to him...
Those kinds of things...
It's all right. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything... Yeah, you'll find both... Anyway, I digress.
That's what I was afraid... I've done the math, so...
By cop...
To be honest, I haven't... All I want is to build this library before... A while ago, I heard... I know that... So even if the acad...
Yeah, my father passed away. I'm sure a child. But let's bring the... Building it according to the current plan will be quite... Sponsor the project? You mean convince wealthy merchants to join our cause and pool their money together to build the library? That does make sense. A library is a big project, and it's going to be hard to fund it with just a single person's mora. What do you think? If we can find others to sponsor the project, we could potentially increase the size of the building 2- or 3-fold.
It's all fine with me, but where do you think we'll be able to find these sponsors?
Well, you're right. If I really think about it, I'm not too familiar with many big-name merchants. Her? Hard pass. With her shrewd and greedy personality, she would never put Mora into something like this. Now there's an idea. She probably won't say no if all she'll need to do is to make some introductions instead of spending Mora. Let's go and pay her a visit.
Now here are some unexpected guests. What brings you to the Palace of Alcazar's Ray? When I saw Kaveh, I almost thought it must be that time of month again. Sadly for me, I must wait a few more days before I can collect my shiny Mora.
Hey, can't you think of something else for a change? You are literally living in an objet d'art, and yet your mind is still fixated on nothing but Mora? What is the point of wealth, anyway? Is your happiness entirely dependent on your hoard of cold, emotionless Mora?
That's exactly right. Mora is extremely valuable, you see. If you don't keep your mind on it, your Mora may just find its way to somebody else's pockets. If you ask me, this place is still way too empty. Just give me some time and I'll fill it to the brim with lots and lots of Mora.
You're hopeless.
Oh, so you have an actual reason to visit me? All right, let's hear it. Merchants? Why? Is there some kind of business opportunity? Oh, I see. So you're just looking for someone to help you fit the bill.
I knew you wouldn't be interested in something like this. Still, you wouldn't refuse just making some introductions for us, would you?
Sure, I can connect you with some folks, but with every service comes a fee, you know.
A fee? You mean just for introductions?
Of course! Making introductions means using my connections and putting my reputation on the line. Why wouldn't I charge a fee for something so important? Since we've known each other for so long, though, I'll give you a huge returning customer discount. How about 500,000 Mora?
500,000? I guess that's okay. But why are you charging a fee before we've even secured any funding? That just doesn't seem right. Besides, by helping us out, you'd be doing a great service to the public. Can't you take your mind off your Mora even for just 1 second and focus on something far more important?
Very well. Since you're so passionate about this project, I'll help you out and waive the introduction fees. 3 of my business partners came by earlier today to discuss some things with me, and they still haven't left yet. I'll arrange a meeting for you, and just so we're clear, it'll be up to you to present your project and discuss any deals.
Thank you so much.
You can wait here. I'll bring them over to you.
Dory gave us a brief introduction about the two of you. You are Kaveh, the renowned architect, and you are the traveler. Practically all of Teyvat has heard of you by now. To be frank, I don't feel like there's an obvious business opportunity here, but since Dory took the time to introduce you, we can spend some time to have a conversation. So, let's hear your idea.
All right, here's the situation. I've been commissioned to build a library in the desert, with the intended goal of allowing the desert dwellers to have more access to reading materials.
So it's a public welfare project?
Correct.
Then the commission fees will likely be very low. You should be careful.
I'm not too concerned about how much I'll get for the commission fees, actually. I'm fine with doing it for free. I just want to get this project rolling as soon as possible. We're just a little short on funding.
So what? You can't possibly expect that we just cover the shortfall for you. Besides, what does a library in the desert have to do with us? If you want to build it yourself with your own Mora. Seems simple enough to me.
Hey, there's no need to be so harsh. They are Dory's associates, after all. Here, can you tell us a bit more about what we can gain from sponsoring this project? So we'd mostly be doing it for reputation and exposure? There is some value to that. It could make doing business in the desert a bit easier.
Well, just speaking for myself, I've got nothing in the desert.
I also have a concern. It feels like there's not much to profit from in the short term. But in the long term, the reputation gain also doesn't sound like it'd offset the cost of the sponsorship.
Then how about this? What if, instead of building a single library, we commit to an entire complex of buildings dedicated to culture and education?
Wouldn't that just cost more?
Yes, but in that case... Mr. Kaveh, please tell us what you have in mind.
I'll just give an example. If we were to build a library and a school near Aru Village, then the desert dwellers would gradually begin to migrate towards the area. A whole suite of buildings will be able to host more traffic, and thus drive the economic development of the entire area. In turn, that would lead to direct business opportunities. I've been to the desert several times. Although there are still many lingering tensions between the two regions, the amount of interaction has been steadily increasing, and in the long term, the desert will only become more and more important to Sumeru.
You do have a point.
Education in the desert is indeed an industry that has not been tapped into. If we can be the first to place stakes in the area.
And you just believe anything he tells you?
Even the greenest amateurs know that urban planning will affect population flow. If you don't believe me, you can ask anyone on the street to confirm it to you.
You...
Hey, why are you starting to sound like I'll hate them?
Wait, something just occurred to me. If we're going to build a library in the desert, Aru Village would obviously be the best place for it. But it seems we're not the only ones with our eyes on the village. I heard a rumor a while back saying a lot of land and buildings in Aru Village have already been secretly purchased by a big-name merchant.
What?
What?
In other words, if we try to join the fray now, there won't be much left for us. If we want to build a suite of buildings focused on education and culture, Aru Village is the prime location. If we want to build it anywhere else, we'll have to deal with a far larger list of problems. It's not impossible, I suppose, but...
Then there's no hurry. We can wait for Aru Village to develop more first and get into the market for expansion to other areas.
But if you were to do that...
Is there nothing else to discuss? Great timing! I pretty much heard all I want to hear. If there are no other urgent matters, I'll be on my way.
I'll be off as well. If you have any new ideas, please feel free to reach out.
It seems like the others are not interested in funding this, so no point in me doing this on my own. Let's revisit this another time.
Hey, guys, wait! Well, what can I say? I guess it went somewhat as expected. They are Dory's friends, after all. As soon as they heard that there's not much more in this for them, they lost all interest. Yeah, it's just another day doing business with people. But I can never get used to that. Those people never think of anyone other than themselves. Looks like we'll have to figure out some other way to get the funding. Let's go.
How did the meeting go? Want to talk about it? Oh, where did all that passion go from earlier, I take it you weren't able to find a sponsor for your project?
Please don't tell me that you're here to mock us.
What kind of person do you take me for? Would the kind and generous Lord Sakuma Bay really do such a thing? I will say, though, I more or less expected this outcome even before I introduced them to you. You can try to talk up the project all you want, but the facts will remain the same. This project is high investment with slow returns. No sane person would put their money into this.
But this isn't just a business project, right? Also, if you already knew no one would want to partner with us, why did you still try to charge me 500,000 mora? You scammer!
You might want to remember who your creditor is before you start talking like that, Kaveh.
I'll pay back every last coin that I still owe you, but that's a completely different matter.
Alright, since you're so devastated about this, I'll set you up for dinner with another big-name merchant. In fact, I'll be inviting the most famous merchant in all of Sumeru, so I'll be counting on your performance.
What? Really? I would like to sincerely apologize for my attitude just now. So, where would we be meeting this merchant?
Follow me. Oh, I suppose both of you can come. This is the place.
You said you're going to introduce us to the most famous merchant in Sumeru. Well, where are they?
You still don't get it, huh? The most famous merchant in Sumeru?
Huh? So you meant yourself all along? Then why did you bring us here?
Well, I've given it some thought, and that complex of education and culture buildings that you mentioned does hold some promise. It'll be a pretty big Mora sink, and I'll have to fund it all on my own, but that's not really a problem for me.
Seriously? Where's this generosity coming from so suddenly? Are you trying to scam me again?
The reasons are not important. What's important is that I'm willing to help you. However, you know just as well as me that once this project actually breaks ground, it'll start sucking Mora from my pockets like crazy. So, to cut costs...
I get it. I won't charge any commission fees, and I'll take responsibility for the entire project.
Splendid! Then let's sign the contract right away.
This way, the children of the desert will have some books to read. Their lives should improve a bit after this. Of course, there are a few things better than using my knowledge to help other people change their fates. I must thank you as well, Dory. I used to say you only cared about Mora, which might have been some prejudice on my part. Sorry for that. I will also try to pay back my debts as soon as possible. Now, let's have a quick discussion. Where would you want the library to be built? That will be the most important building.
There's no rush. I'll provide you with a copy of the deed when we get back. You can just use the address on the document to find the lot.
Huh? The deed? So hold on a sec. The person who has been buying up everything around Aru Village was you all along?
Oh my, did I not tell you about that? Yep, yours truly has been buying up all the land. I must thank you for bringing your ideas to me. Before our conversation, I had no idea what to build on all those lots. So, from my perspective, this has been a great turn of events. I didn't put much in and easily got a lot in return.
But what about my commission fees?
Huh? Didn't you waive those yourself? I was just gonna say that to cut costs. We mustn't procrastinate and should start construction as soon as possible. But before I could finish my sentence, you volunteered to waive your commission fees and even promised to take responsibility for the whole project from start to finish. I am so touched, really.
It's obvious that you used every trick in the book to deceive me. You deliberately paused for a long time while talking about the project and kept glancing at me with that menacing look in your eyes.
Huh? You really think so? Well, the contract's already been signed, so there's no point in dwelling on the details. You know what? I'll pay for tonight's dinner.
Fine, I'll drop the argument on the commission fees. But since you said you're paying for dinner, I'm going to order the best dishes and booze this place has to offer, and lots of it. Tonight, we're feasting until I've recouped my full commission fees.
I wonder what's inside this package. No. No peeking at my customers' stuff. Specialties in Sumeru.
Don't you remember your adventure plans, my lady?
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Oh, actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Anyway, stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass.
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look for me. If word gets out, other potential clients might be afraid to work with me. That guy, though, what was he even going on about? All those ridiculous demands of his? He's just a blabbering fool trying to act like a know-it-all. Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's preferences. But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I would spend a lot of... I suppose that all of this makes...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of... Anyway, I don't know about art.
What do you think, Exactly. So our thoughts on... In Sumeru, it's too bad that I'm not... Sounds great to me. Huh? What? I mean, my mother is also an architect. Perhaps. Unfortunately, I did remember something else, though. When my mother left, she only carried some small personal luggage. At the time, I hadn't quite come to grips with my emotions. It's been a really long time. Huh? Speaking. Either way, thanks for thinking too hard. If you want to stick around and see how this will turn. Alright, then let's head. Let me see. Anyway, there's no more time for drinks. Alhaitham isn't in, so feel free to sit wherever. I'll bring out the box. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. The box is pretty dusty, which means it's already been a while since I've moved into this place. And many years since my mother moved to Fontaine. I'm happy for her. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, I remember. Obviously, I wouldn't call it anything. Now that I've said that out loud, I suppose I do have some level of artistic talent, right? Criticism and self-doubt have always been a part of the artistic process. Without criticism, there can be no improvement. I admit that I may have spent a little too long questioning myself this time around. Anyway, never mind. The more I talk about it, the less confident I feel. Let's see what else we have in the box. My building blocks! Oh, I was super proud of myself when I finished it. Unfortunately, my mother didn't realize that I had put it there. When she had a meeting with a client the next day, she handed my blueprint to him by mistake. The client was completely It was only a few days later that he finally gathered up the courage to pay. My mother took me with her to personally apologize. She didn't scold me about it and... Let's see, is there anything else left in this box? Huh. What was this again? This is my mother when I was a child. Huh. Wonder why she... If only I could. Hey, it's not a Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head. And I could tell what you were thinking. I've tried my name, my father. I've even tried stuff like... I wouldn't try that route again. So we could find someone who was close to my mother was never really the one. Let me think. Is there... You've never really heard of her? She's a famous Gasharwar scholar. Professor Zahaha, she's older now and is no longer teaching at the academia. Let's go take a look. We might run into her if we're lucky.
What am I supposed to do now? Forget it. I'll just head back.
Tainari, what are you doing here?
Oh, it's you. Good to finally see you again. I came into the city to buy some experiment reagents, hoping to bring them back with me to Gandharvaville. But as soon as I got here, I noticed someone banging on Cyrus's door. You've all heard of Cyrus, right? He's an ex-sage and Sino's adoptive father. I was thinking about going over to ask what's happening. That granny over there may appear old and frail, but her vocal cords certainly sound loud and healthy as ever.
Granny?
Yeah, she's just over there. You can go check out the situation yourselves in a moment. Kaveh, were you at the tavern?
I had a quick drink or two. Can you still smell the alcohol?
Drinking in broad daylight. Really? You want to pass out by the road and get run over by a sumpter beast like some mindless fungus, huh? And you, traveler? You didn't try to stop him? You look like a wreck, Kaveh. What happened? Are you feeling down again? You know what? I'm hosting a meal at Pardistii tomorrow evening. Do you want to come?
Huh? Oh, I had no idea. Let me think for a moment. I'll come if I can find some time.
All right. Then I'll plan on reserving 2 seats for you. I'll be heading back to Gandharvaville for now. I have a feeling that argument over there is going to continue for quite some time. It might be best if we don't get involved.
A granny who lives nearby. Let's go take a look.
So, plan on keeping yourself locked in there, huh? Fine by me. If you're not going to come out, then I'm not going to leave. My tomato was growing so well, it had all the potential to become the best tomato this year, and you cut it straight from the vine.
I already told you I had nothing to do with it. Why would I take a tomato that's still weeks from ripening? You'd have to be awfully green as an investigator to think it was me. You see, the word green here can refer to both the color of the tomato and the fact that your skills could use some.
Enough nonsense! Just come out and face me, you coward!
You're out of your mind. If I've actually done something wrong, then get a mantra and pull me out by force, why don't ya?
Oh, why you?
Professor Zahahadi?
And who are you? Oh, Kaveh. Fancy seeing you here. How long has it been? Come on, get over here and let the professor...
Professor, what's going on here?
It's no big deal, really. A few of us old scholars got bored in our retirement and decided to put together a vegetable growing competition. At the end, whoever loses will have to go up on stage and do a performance for the winners. Which brings us to our current predicament. My tomato was sure to win until a certain someone decided they couldn't bear to lose.
Hey, don't try to defame me in front of the kids. If we're airing out each other's dirty laundry now, then why don't we talk about you sneaking into Janat's garden the other night?
Ahem! Lucky for you, seeing these youngsters come to pay their respects today has put me in a better mood. I'll let you off the hook, for now. Come on, let's go. We'll take our conversation elsewhere. He doesn't need to be a part of it.
Yes, of course.
Is Faranak still doing well?
Yes, as far as I know. She left for Fontaine some time ago and started a new life for herself. She's still doing work related to architecture, though.
Ah, yes. I did hear about that. Did that upset you at all?
No, not at all. She's already sacrificed a lot raising me as a single mother.
That's good to hear. Your mother did struggle quite a bit those few years. It's probably a good... Sometimes I wonder if things were harder for her because she was so beautiful. She was still quite young when she first joined my class as a student. Beautiful. She had to make a lot of drastic changes. Even during her time in the academia, she was a thorough. She had many admirers, and they'd all. But every time I saw her,
I'm sure she had many difficult moments in her life.
I'm not too sure. She never talked about such. I do remember one time, though, when she got into a heated argument with a friend. She said something I found very memorable. She said, "True art cannot be understood, but as an artist, I wish some people could understand its meaning and value." If you ask me, that's probably the greatest source of pain for geniuses.
So that's how it is. I wonder if the password could be... I tried both.
What are you trying to...
My mother left her notebook to me, but it has a password, and I haven't figured out what it is yet. I'm trying to learn more about her so I'd have a better chance at cracking the code.
Your personalities are quite alike, too. I've taught a lot. They would know exactly what they want. Some clients would choose to respect the architect's vision or just let the argument. When Faranak first graduated, she was getting into arguments with her clients nearly every single day. I think it only got a little better when she met your father.
I see. But could he understand the designs my mother made?
No, I think they were probably beyond him, too. But despite that, he still stayed next to her, listening to her joys and sharing. And Faranak had many admirers, but...
So instead of understanding, perhaps all we need is just...
Oh, was that?
Yes!
Then you should be on your way, child. Being the awkward. If you're ever in a mood to chat again, just come and find me here. You're always welcome to discuss architecture.
Thank you so much, Professor.
There's no need to be so formal.
I wonder what my mother could have written about.
They all say Zaha Hadid's class is the toughest, but I think I met someone special. We decided to name our son. The bad news came.
Huh? Is this a drawing? Seems like it was done by my mother. This blonde man was probably my father, but who are the other people in the picture? Huh? From the dates in the notebook, she probably drew this more than... Maybe we were thinking too.
The one who invited us to the gathering is a talkative woman. Including us, 3 couples showed up. There was also a person who came alone. The talkative woman introduced everyone to each other. She spoke really quickly, so I couldn't quite catch everything she said, but I also didn't feel like asking her to repeat herself. My husband seems to be friends with the man with long ears. I couldn't really join their... I don't think I'd be able to become friends with any of these people. That man is certainly very handsome, but he would constantly alternate between... We were not acquainted with each other to begin with, and I doubt we'll see each other again after this gathering. The ambiance of this gathering is surprisingly pleasant. Maybe my son will also partake in these gatherings in the future. I hope he'll be able...
Who would have thought my mother used to attend that kind of thing? It seems she was... There's more written on the back.
Kaveh, you are very... No one will be able to help you. Whenever you feel down, seek out a friend...
So that's the answer she prepared for me. Well, now that I've read her words... Although it'd be nice to... Besides, don't forget, I'm also older than all of them. You're not wrong, but I keep feeling like I have... Wait, do you mean it? I've gotten so used... You know what?
Alhaitham also got my invite, right? Will he be coming to join us?
That guy? He's never been a fan of social gatherings. I wouldn't get my hopes up if I were you.
Are you sure? All right then. I guess we won't wait for him.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, maybe we should give him a little more time. We can keep chatting for a while longer.
Oh, sure.
You still haven't told me, what's the occasion for getting us together here at Pardis DI?
We're celebrating the end of the first phase of Kale's studies. I wanted to thank you all for the help you've given her along the way.
Then where's Kale?
She said she wanted to show everyone a bit of what she's learned, so she's still doing some last-minute prep at home. She'll be here shortly. Anyway, let's get started. The curriculum will become a lot more involved, and I'm worried that she won't be able to get through all of it. I was hoping...
I knew this wouldn't be just a simple free dinner. Is that why you also invited Alhaitham?
Yes, I thought it would be good if we could all put our heads together about this. Anyway, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. What did you guys do when you ran into a...
Never happened to me.
I'd just pull another all-nighter.
You two are hopeless. Does anyone have a more useful...
Ooh, that's a good point. Confidence is the most important thing. Once you lose your sense of confidence, it'll become all but impossible to find the motivation to study.
This could be a potential direction. I have already redesigned...
It's very simple. Instead of focusing on the amount of material you would like to teach, focus on the amount the student would be able to remember.
Wow, you actually showed up. I could probably count the number of times you've actually come to gatherings like this on just one hand.
It's still more than the number of times you've managed to get a proposal approved on the first try.
As long as you're still aware. So...
That's your purpose for being here, not mine. Don't project your...
So you're saying the only reason...
Precisely. Kale will have...
Hey, just to get one thing clear...
What are you saying? Spawn Tamad is the better choice. It's where I graduated from, after all.
Then what about Amorta? That's the Darshan her master actually graduated from.
There are only 2 other Darshans left. We might as well select all of them on her enrollment application.
You? I'm trying to... Traveler, you aren't associated with any of the 6 Darshan...
Well said.
Agreed. And my goal...
Phase 2 far exceed...
Hey, what are you thinking now? Please don't tell me you're planning on lending her the...
Actually, I was thinking about lending her a professions guide.
I'll make sure to write, "Don't become an architect," on the front page of that.
Is there another phase after phase 2? What's the ultimate goal of all of this? Are we trying to prepare her for a job in the academia?
We don't need to think that far ahead. Hold that thought, though. I think...
I'm telling you, that client had...
Have you considered finding another...
they're all this...
It's too late now to... Besides, you'll be getting...
No!
Cheer up, Kaveh.
We'll save that for the end, Sino.
Oh. The scenery here is wonderful. I've landed the perfect job.
Alhaitham isn't in, so feel free to sit wherever. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. I'm happy for her. I hope she'll... Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, obviously I wouldn't call it... Now that I've said that out loud, I suppose criticism and self-doubt, I admit that I may have... Anyway, my building blocks! And this... I was super proud of myself. Unfortunately, It was only a few days later that he finally gathered up the courage to pay my mother a visit. He asked... My mother took me with... She didn't scold me. Let's see, is there anything else left in this box? What was this again? This is my mother. When I was a child, I used to be super... Wonder why she didn't take... If only I could. I never managed to guess the password. Hey, it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of inspiration. Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head. And the answer... I could tell what you were thinking. Don't worry, I tried all the easy guesses a long time ago. I've tried my name, my father's name, my mother's name, my grandparents' names. I've even tried stuff like... I wouldn't try that route again. Yeah, you're right. Everyone's life journey is... I just got an idea, though. What do you think? I'm glad you agree. Then let...
Please show me your credentials before borrowing books. Please show me your credentials before borrowing.
Of all the places in the academia, I remember this one most. When my studies got busy, I used to pull all-nighters here trying to finish my blueprints. I created many designs that I thought, the academia all. Oh, here, this is a great example. This book, History of Ancient Sumeru Architecture, contains some analysis that I did many years ago. Huh? Why is Alhatham's handwriting also in here? When did he ever read this book? I guess it's probably from when we worked on that research project together. Anyway, he probably never cared to tell you this, but the House of Dana is where Alhatham and I first met. I came here to do my homework, and saw him sitting by himself next to that row of bookshelves. A group of Haravatat scholars were chatting near him, but he looked as if he was too lazy to join them. There was a pretty stark difference between him and all the rest of them. It was my fault for feeling bad for him. I thought he must have gotten into some kind of trouble and went over to ask if he needed anything, not realizing that...
Not realizing that you were in fact the one in a whole heap of trouble?
Alhatham? Why are you here?
The House of Dana is a public space. Anyone can come here, no?
But shouldn't you be at the records room at this hour? You're not here to watch me make a fool of myself, are you?
You think I would derive amusement from watching you fall into depression over your life's various troubles? If that's the case, then I suppose I must have been entertaining myself for years. I came here to pick up a few files. If your voice hadn't managed to get through my soundproof earpieces, I probably wouldn't have noticed you.
All right, I admit I was probably overreacting just now. Probably not when he's right here with us. As his senior, I shouldn't try to tarnish his reputation.
There was nothing embarrassing or shameful about it. When I was still a student at the academia, I once collaborated with Kaveh on a research project. A collaboration is usually beneficial for all parties, but due to issues with our personalities, we ended up going our separate ways before completing the project. We had a number of differences, and they remain unresolved even today. But there's no point going into that right now. The more important question is, why are you at the House of Dana? I see. Oh, and Kaveh, a lot of...
Huh? But why would you know that?
Sure, if that will give you... Leave any words of thanks you may have. As a result, the books you annotated have been moved to the back shelves.
What? But all of my annotations were extremely important. Instead of reporting me, they should have been thanking me for my service. The notes that I took, they couldn't have asked for a better analysis of those books. Okay, just you wait. I'm going to fix this right now. I'll dig all the books out and return them to the proper shelves.
Oh, we'll wait. Anyway, you were about to say he's feeling put through the ringer. He probably did suffer quite a bit, that's true. But the satisfaction of one client, there are plenty of architects in Sumeru who clearly his predicament is. Of course, each person is different, and we should respect the paths that they have chosen. Admonitions will serve no purpose. People tend to succumb.
Looks like you were having an enjoyable chat while I was gone. Were you talking?
What do you think?
What else is there to talk about? Surely no one would be interested. Anyway, you should take a look at this. Look at this comment on page 8. See that? Now that's how a
And it looks like you're already in a much better mood now.
Me? Happy?
Why don't you just move all the books yourself? Kaveh had a habit of scribbling and writing in all kinds of books.
Hey! You didn't need to bring. Oh, actually, I also found a really old sketch in one of the books. Huh? Don't tell. You.
We can also plainly see that the designer was a huge fan of this project. It's the project he loves to talk about the most, second to the palace.
If I don't keep bringing up the neat projects that I've done, how would anyone know that I was the one who did? There shouldn't be any complaints about Port Ormos. If I remember correctly, the construction process was very smooth. Everything.
There are indeed no records of any complaints about.
See? What did I tell you? Come on, let's take a stroll through Port Ormos.
No need. It's almost time to clock out for the day, and I don't intend on bringing any unfinished work home.
Suit yourself.
Let me see. Okay, let's get going. The next location on my list is really far away.
Port Ormos. No, I didn't design any one specific building. Most of my work here concerned structural renovation. Port Ormos had already existed since I was still a young child. It wasn't as large as it is now, though. It only came to its current size after a sizable expansion. I was part of that project. The arch bridge over there, for example, that was one of my designs. When I was first tasked with the project, I decided to reference the growth patterns of nearby trees to split Port Ormos into 2 levels. My goal was to improve the overall utilization of space. We ran into a lot of issues during construction, but thankfully, we were still able to achieve the original vision. Residents can now behold all the ships entering and leaving the harbor from the vantage point of the bridge, while visitors can recognize the site of Port Ormos from a long ways away. I was still young and new to the trade back then. I could hardly believe that an idea in my head could become reality and remain in the world for many years to come. The true cornerstone of the creative process. Once built, a building... You think so? I'm glad to... My budget was tight, and I was unable to use... Us creative types know better than anyone that most projects cannot be completed without a few regrets. Yeah, you're right. I should learn to look toward future opportunities, and believe that any... We've spent long enough here. There's... Great. Most of my projects over the... This is a rare opportunity, so why don't you come along and see it for yourself? If you ever feel down, maybe you'll be able to go there and feel better too.
Eri has a nice ring to it.
Who would have thought that so many primal constructs could have congregated here while I was gone? We won't be able to sit and talk peacefully with these guys around. Let's clear the area.
Gotcha.
Come at me! Take, toe, huh?
Time to rock! Pyrotechnic! Busted! Here comes the catch!
Taking a turn for the better.
Scanning! Feast your eyes! Come at me!
Crash delivery! Coming through! Protect you with steam!
Game's up. Time's over.
Sight clear!
That's that!
Isn't this place great? I often come here to clear my mind when I'm dealing with a difficult situation. You know what I mean. Everyone finds themselves in frustrating situations once in a while. Just take me as an example. My family life got shaken up quite a bit when I was young. Although I'll hate them, you could probably say I followed... Life is too boring when you... Of course, I will... But still, isn't this place... With different landforms come... The site here has moved... My pain will... They are far more valuable than most materialistic things. And far more... If you were to ask me what art is, that would... You think so? Remember that question I still haven't found an answer to that yet. Those who pursue art will be unable... I'll try gathering my thoughts again. In any case... Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass of juice?
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look. That guy. Another glass, please, boss.
You've got it.
It really is, but perhaps getting... I would spend a lot of... I suppose, though, all of this make...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of... Anyway, I don't know...
What do you think? Exactly. In Sumeru, it's too bad. Sounds great. A different career? I think I've heard a saying somewhere before. 80% of a working adult's woes. It's just a saying, of course, but even I... And if I want to make Mora, I should finish that ridiculous... Hold on. Maybe I'll be...
Kaveh, it's you! It's been a while. What have...
Yeah, it's been a long time, Alkami. Things haven't changed much for me. I'm still taking private commissions for all kinds of projects.
I heard that you were the genius behind the Palace of Alcazar. I bet you're all set for Mora after a project of that size.
Well, it's hard to make a profit from every project, you know?
Hard to make a profit? You've got to be joking. I've never met an architect who didn't make a profit from a project. Unless the client fled before they paid the commission fee in full. But that doesn't sound right either. Doesn't Dory have a pretty decent reputation in our local business circles? I don't think she's ever been involved in any kind of big scandal.
Well, about that. I mean, it was complicated.
I understand. Either way, doing one project after another sure gets exhausting over the years, huh? I've been there, so I can feel your pain. I mean, I obviously never had your reputation to live up to. That must have been stressful. But I'm sure we've faced all the same problems. Trying to keep your client in a good mood while you're trying to stop them from micromanaging things they don't know the first thing about. I don't miss it. Thankfully, that's all behind me now. Well, not exactly. My work is still closely related to architecture. Judging from the look on your face, you're still strapped for Mora. That's quite unfortunate. You're the most artistically gifted graduate the Kasharawar Darshan has seen in decades. But it looks like you still have a lot to learn in terms of making Mora. With that said, Us Kasharawar grads should still look out for each other. What if I told you about an idea that'll absolve you of all your Mora troubles going forward?
Are you serious? But something like that has got to be some kind of top-level business secret. Are you sure you can just share something like that with me? Besides, I don't want to just take something like that without offering anything in return. I still have a little Mora. Or is there something that I can help you with?
Oh, you're too kind. This is just a simple tip. Even if I didn't bring it up, I'm sure you'd hear it from the others sooner or later. The idea is this. I recently opened up a training center with the goal of educating people in architecture design. Compared to the classes taught by those old fossils at the academia, my classes are more condensed and streamlined and will allow people to quickly get their foot in the door. Unlike the academia, I won't turn down anyone who's interested, rich or poor. As long as someone wishes to learn more about architecture, I'll accept them into my training center. It just so happens that I'm still looking for a few more instructors. So, what do you say? Interested in coming over to give a few lectures? Regardless of the pay, I can already guarantee that it'll be far more comfortable than working on random people's private commissions.
Ah, so you want me to join you as an instructor? That does sound like something I'd be able to do. It sounds like a pretty stable job, too. What do you think, Traveler?
Then it's a deal.
Yes, it's a deal.
As for the pay,
300?
300,000 is. I have to go make some.
I was never particularly. I've hosted free lectures before, but this. Thanks so much. Now, what should I. All right.
Oh, I didn't expect.
I was up last.
Lesson plan. But the training center has already developed it. Sure. It's almost time for the lecture to start.
Huh. So, there's something else I want.
No need to stress. There are 14 class.
20 people, huh?
Oh, and I'm sorry to say this, but your friend.
Sorry.
Hey there. Can I help you? Oh, I heard he...
Did you hear? It really makes you...
That's true. For those who can't pass the exam.
Man, to have...
All class is over, so...
No, you weren't scary at all.
Oh, don't get me Alkami may fool an amateur, but he can't fool anyone who's active in our profession. The materials he made are, in my opinion, there are tens of the architects who can. All these students are. How can they expect?
But Mr. What's the big deal anyway?
You're studying.
Yeah, my biggest dream.
Huh. In that case.
But he also said that it won't be long before I can put these miserable days behind me.
Come on.
But
you. Let's go, traveler.
What's wrong, Kaveh? Were the students...
Yeah, I'm mad at... The students are... If your client is... You know all of...
You may deny it all you want. Our clients... Why should we... If it's near impossible to make money...
Wait, how does that...
We are already stuck, my friend. The more people we can lead into... That's right. None of the students will have... The more students I get.
And then what? When that happens...
But that's just... Oh, and also, I never actually... I'm not even scared if they do come back and...
You... I can't believe...
And that same goes... Only fool... I urge you, as the light of the... Think it over, Kaveh.
I'm so mad. I feel a headache coming on. There's nothing more I can say to him. Of course... He is right about the most that they could accuse him of is Oh? Did you notice something else? Yeah, the rate he gave... If you're gambling everything on making it rich as... Right. We're never going to get any information...
Oh.
Class finished a while...
I wanted to...
Of course that... It's a good thing.
Rest?
Yes. And for most people, going from admiration...
Just as I thought.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Don't listen to him. Why would I pull you?
Mr. Alcon, he told all...
How much?
I think...
And what was the interest? Yeah, I have a bad feeling too. We need to find that merchant to confirm. Good idea.
We last saw him.
Well, it's still we need to do...
Take it easy.
Oh.
You're Fahar.
Yes.
Alkami. My friend here wants to enroll in his architecture class.
Oh.
Let me...
Oof. You call that a bit short?
And what if they won't be able...
What do you mean, won't be able to pay it back? Once you graduate, and even if... It's hard work running a business. Anyway, there's no...
I just did... Of course, the contract did a great job. If you actually do the math, how... Even my creditor doesn't dare to...
What are you trying to say, huh? Too many people are sticking...
Eremites? I've already fought off more than... There are only a few of them, so they shouldn't pose... That's
Come on, feeling lucky today?
Take that!
A bitter pill to swallow.
Sight clear. Take that!
Coming through! Not here, please!
Here comes the catch. Quietly now.
Mind the side effects. Yeah.
That's that!
You want this one?
Scanning.
Busted.
A bitter pill to swallow. Remember, health comes first.
Coming through!
Who are you and what do you want? I don't think we've done anything to hurt or offend.
Debt has the power to upend your whole life. I know very well just how... But my debts are the culmination of many different... But these students are different. They have neither the mental... You sold the dreams of becoming an architect to the students as bait.
Ha! Everyone knows there's no such thing as a... And if we're going to talk about greed,
Ha! And here comes the... People grow by learning from their... Let's head back... Sino?
My vacation just ended not too long ago, so I'm going over some cases at the academia. I see. Charging an interest rate over... As it is highly likely that Alkami is also benefiting from this scheme, the Matra will open an investigation on him as well. Any funds we manage to recover from the suspects will be returned to the students.
That should still be enough. Anyway,
it's no trouble. Just another day at work. Did you accept any...
He promised to...
Ah, that's good.
What do you...
I wouldn't have gone that far. But, Had he insisted that you were also an active participant in his schemes, under our... Either way, though, I believe you...
Hey, what was that? You're just messing...
Let's get back to business. If Alkami's case can be successfully resolved, you'll be eligible...
Huh. I didn't even know there...
The reward will be...
Fine.
Is there anything else?
I want to go back...
Sure.
All right, then I'll...
I have a few other things to take...
To think Alkami would see... Still, I think It's a little ironic. How should I put it? The arguments are... Alkami's suggestion would have allowed me to quit my life. Every scholar. Just speaking for myself, though. If I stopped devoting at that point, any materialistic It's certainly not easy. My thanks again for being such a great help throughout all of... All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy.
I never would have guessed Mr. Alkami was a...
The training center has been shut down.
Mr. Kaveh said we can keep working on our fundamentals. Ha! Easier said than done. Only the best of the best. Mr. Kaveh?
Why? What?
So, you're the only ones that
Huh?
Now, that's Mr. Kaveh to you. I'll keep instructing you for a while longer. You can pass on the message to the other students. As long as... Oh, also, I'm usually pretty busy, so I'll only be able to teach architecture fundamentals on my days off. Architecture is not an easy profession. Aesthetics aside, even the basics of safe design can already be a handful for most people. If you want to design safe buildings, you'll have to go through a systematic study of structural... And just as a heads up, all of this will be a huge step up from the superficial stuff you were learning before. It'll take both talent and
We'll try our best.
It seems some of you... All right, everyone, pack your stuff up. No, you'll know once we get there. This lighthouse has been around for a long time, and I handled its renovations when I first graduated from the academia. The point of today is not so much about the lighthouse as a building, however. I just want you to take a look at it and do a bit of self-reflection. If you were tasked today with designing a building, how would you want it to look like? Don't think about how you'd actually go about building it for now. Just put your ideas to paper and draw the prettiest building that comes to your mind.
So, it can be, any kind of building?
Yep, as long as you think it'd look good. It doesn't even necessarily have to. In my experience, it's best to approach the study of architect, both the study and practice. So at least for today, I hope the What do you think? Want to...